Hello everyone. Look, we're both wearing red, or as red as we got, because apparently our wardrobe is really dark. We're wearing red because it's Chinese New Year coming up, and because of lockdown this year, we're not throwing our usual Chinese New Year party. Wah wah. But we still wanted to do something special and cook a little bit of something. So today we're making the quintessential Chinese New Year food, snack, thing to eat, which is called Nian Gao. And instead of buying it from the store this year, we're actually gonna try and make it.
The key word there being try, because we always buy it pre-made.
Right, and this is gonna be a pretty tall task. Number one, I've only seen my mom do this. I've never made this myself. Number two, we don't have steaming baskets. And number three, we don't have the required amount of time for it to set. So we're gonna try to, make it work.
We'll make it work. It'll be fine. Now the ingredients list for Nian Gao is
complicated.
Really easy. It's actually surprisingly easy. All you're gonna need is glutinous rice flour, 600 grams of it. You can probably find this at your local Asian grocery store or possibly at Walmart. We got it at our local Asian grocery store. You're also going to need 600 grams of water. You'll need 400 grams of brown sugar and 50 grams of just regular granulated sugar. So if you are trying to eat healthy, this recipe is not for you. It is basically just sugar and flour.
Okay, so there is one thing to note. It is important that you actually get glutinous rice flour. There is another type called rice flour, and it's gonna be completely wrong if you use that. So glutinous rice flour, very important.
All right, let's get cooking. Okay, so we are literally just coming over to our stove. We're grabbing a pan, a big enough pan for the sugar and the water. And all you need to do is put both the brown sugar and the granulated sugar along with the water in here and boil it until the sugar melts. So let's do it.
Sugar is a quintessential part of a healthy diet, right? Because that's a lot of it. I guess that looks right. The color is right. The instructions say to basically melt the sugar or bring it up to a gentle simmer. The sugar is thoroughly melted, so I think we're good to go.
Now we just have to let it cool down completely before we can move on to the next step. But the next step is literally just going to be to mix it into the flour.
So I guess we wait.
Oh, in the meantime though, we can oil the
containers,
the ramekins that we're gonna cook this in. So the recipe says to make it in a bigger pan, and you're supposed to actually line it with banana leaves if you can. We could not for the life of us find banana leaves. So instead, we are just going to oil it so that they don't get stuck, and we're actually using ramekins so that if one of them ends up ruined and one of them doesn't, then we'll still count it as a success.
So I'm using some canola oil that I think this is what we're gonna use. I'm just putting in some paper towel, a little bit of oil.
You're gonna need way more oil than that.
I am going to need way more oil than that. I'm actually just gonna pour a little bit in here and then we'll smush it around with the paper towel. Yeah, okay, I mean, sure, right?
No, you're gonna need more oil than that.
I might need more oil. I told you, this is an experiment. No, okay, so for one ramekin, this is actually pretty well oiled. Alright, Tia, while I'm doing this, you want to tell people how we're gonna cook this to maximize our chances of success?
Okay, so we looked at a couple of different recipes online and we have 2 different ways that we're gonna try this out. The first way is traditionally in a steamer. Now, our steamer is really, really old school, and it's not like one of those fancy ones that has a lot of settings. And what the internet said is to cook them for 30 minutes on high and then 2.5 to 3 hours on low. We don't have a high and a low setting, so we're just gonna try it out on the one setting that our steamer does have. One thing to note though, if you are doing the steamer method, make sure that you are keeping an eye on the water level, because you won't be steaming things if there's no water left in there. Option number 2 is to use a crock pot. So this is something that a lot more people probably have in their house. And on this one, you just do I think it's a 10 to 12 hour slow cook. And again, we're just gonna put the ramekins directly in there. I think we'll put a little bit of water in it and we'll just let it go. So we're gonna see which method works better. Probably the most annoying part of all of this is the amount of time it has to sit after it's done cooking, which is between 1 to 2 days. Days.
All right, we have 6 ramekins in total, but only 3 of them oiled because we don't actually know how much we can fill into these things. So the basically sugar water has cooled down, and I'm gonna put that into there, into the flour. Super complicated. Watch this. Secret technique right here. Notice how I'm pouring it into the bowl so that it doesn't spill out. Shocking.
All right, we have our crock pot over there, we have our rice cooker or steamer behind us, we have the kettle going to boil some water, and our ramekins are ready, so let's put the dough in the ramekins and get them cooking. Now, I'm not sure if these are gonna rise in any way, so I'm not gonna fill them to the brim.
All right, final step of the cooking process, sort of, at least for today, is to plop them into the pots over there. So we got a rice cooker here, and maybe you can see the steam a little bit. There we go. And we have some hot water in there, so Tia's gonna put 3 of them into this open pot. And the last one. Boom. We're gonna top it off with some boiling water. Like so.
Once you put your ramekins in your steamer, you either have 2 options. You can either cover it with tin foil, or if you have a cloth, you can put that under the lid of the steamer. It's a lot easier for us to do that because we have 3 separate ramekins. So we'll just do it like that and put the lid on. All right, let's try the slow cooker.
So the slow cooker is gonna take a lot longer, and we're gonna fill this water a little bit. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be cooking underneath like that, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it doesn't even say to put water in it, but like, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to have the slow cooker running without liquid.
Is that it? 5? Oh, okay. So
We have about 3.5 hours on the steamer, or we're gonna check it in like 2.5 just to make sure it's okay. And we have 12 hours on the crock pot. So we're gonna be sleeping by the time that stops, but luckily it's crock pot and we don't have to check on it. And I guess we'll see what happens.
About 2 hours and 15 minutes later, something like that. And I think we're done. So, like the recipe says, it's kind of springy like this, but it will take about 48 hours or something like that before it's like totally set and we can slice them up and deep fry them. I'm excited.
Hey guys, it's been 2 days since we made and cooked the Nian Gao. It's been sitting out on the counter. Now, we did 2 different methods here. 2 of them we actually took out of the ramekins and wrapped them up in wax paper and then saran wrap. And then the other 3 we actually left in the ramekins. You can see that they actually they kind of fell, which we weren't expecting. But what we're hoping is that the 2 days they've been sitting on the counter, they've started to get more firm. You want them to be firm so that you can fry them, because that's how you actually eat them. Okay, so the 2 that you just saw, one was from the steamer and the other one was from the slow cooker. The slow cooker, we didn't actually cook them for 12 hours. About 4 hours in, they started to burn on the top, so we completely turned it off. Now what I'm seeing here is the one that was in the slow cooker is definitely more cooked and more firm, versus the one that was in the steamer is still a little bit squishy. But I wonder which one is actually going to taste better and feel a little more authentic. All right, we've sliced them up. Next step is to dip them in an egg wash and fry them up. And that's about it. Well, there you have it, guys. We fried the Nian Gao. It actually looks pretty legit, like comparable to when we buy it at the store and fry it ourselves. So let's give it a try. Oh, it is crispy. Come on. I mean, it smells right. Mmm. Oh my gosh. I can't believe we actually made this from scratch. Yeah, this is pretty authentic. Oh man, Andy's gonna be super excited when he tries a piece of this. I'm gonna go take one over to him right now. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, you know where to drop them in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Would you make any adjustments to the recipe? Do you have any questions? We'll be happy to answer them. That pretty much wraps up this episode of Around the World in 50 Foods. And we hope to catch you on the next one.